written in stone, an expression meaning something that's permanent. But in truth, the story of stone is a story of change. Even the rough skin of the rock we live on is changing, ever so slowly. Its ragged and crumbling surface has provided us with the very foundation of human civilization. Rocks, minerals, crystals, gems. We wear them, work with them, walk on them. We even worship them. What is a rock? A cocktail of atoms combines to form crystals. Crystals form minerals. Minerals combine to make rocks. From talisman to tool, from sandstone to silicon chip, the human story, as written in stone, is also a tale of change and transformation. For 4.5 billion years, the Earth has recorded its history in stone, an ongoing diary of its changes. Pressed between its pages, we find fossils, like this leaf. But fossils aren't made overnight. The space once occupied by a decaying fish is filled in by minerals. As layers of sediment accumulate over the centuries, the pressure eventually bakes the mud into rock and a fossil, a stone memorial to the fish. Fossils provide a rare glimpse of some of the earliest life forms to thrive on Earth. The permanence of stone and the towering stature of mountains have always inspired awe and reverence. In Australia, Aborigines consider Ayers Rock to be sacred. While some rocks were revered, others were put to work. Simple pebble tools have been found in some of the earliest human graves. Stone axes date back 700,000 years. 300,000 years ago, flint became the stone of choice. Because flint splits in any direction and fractures to a sharp edge, it was perfect for tools and weapons. From the earliest crude choppers to scrapers, knives, and arrowheads, flint became a Stone Age sensation. Although the human use of fire goes back hundreds of thousands of years, the first known use of flint as a fire-making tool was around 7000 BC. Some Native Americans considered flint to be a god. A great fire at the center of the Earth was one of the first notions of our planet's core. Today we know Earth's center has a solid inner core about 750 miles wide. The inner core is encased in a molten outer core, which in turn is surrounded by the solid mantle. Surrounding the entire package is the Earth's crust, the rocky wrapping on which we live. Even with the most modern technology, we've only been able to probe a few miles into the crust. We've only scratched its surface, which is littered with stone mysteries. The great megaliths of the late Stone Age were erected by people who left no written records. At Carnac in France, several thousand megaliths, arranged in orderly rows, lead the way for over a half-mile to stone tombs and burial grounds. It's been said that the people who erected these stones believed the souls of the dead like to come out and take the air. Each vertical stone, or menhir, was not only a perch where the soul could rest, but a marker to find its way back. Stonehenge, the first rock group to achieve worldwide fame, is believed to have been used for both worship and astronomy. Like any rock that's been around for a few billion years, the Earth's surface has seen its share of wear and tear. But forces from within also shape the Earth's crust. The Earth's internal heat pushes and shoves on the crust. Magma is a mineral soup of boiling rock which can slowly push up through the seams to form ridges or explode onto the Earth's surface in volcanic eruptions. The Earth's crust is like a suit of armor that doesn't quite fit. In some places, the plates are stretched apart, leaving deep trenches. Although it takes millions of years, two plates pressing together can buckle upwards and form mountain ranges. Just as we had no knowledge of plate tectonics 50 years ago, the early Greeks didn't know the Earth was round. The center of their world was at Delphi, in the Temple of Apollo. They believed the world was created from this navel stone, or omphalos, made of white marble. While volcanoes illustrate how internal forces can shape rock, the external forces of erosion also leave their mark. Wind and blowing sand carve Monument Valley in Arizona. Rainwater, actually a weak acid, can dissolve the minerals on a rock's surface. The tours of Dartmoor, England were created when the softer minerals were dissolved away, leaving stone building blocks. Water's most renowned rock carving is the Grand Canyon. Cutting through layers of sandstone and limestone, the Colorado River has carved over a mile into the Earth's crust, exposing rock and fossils laid down 4 billion years ago. Few other places on Earth reveal as much about the planet's history. Equally effective, but more subtle, is the eroding power of temperature change. When water seeps into a rock's hairline cracks, then freezes, it expands the cracks. Repeated melting and refreezing eventually breaks the rock. Using a rock to crack open an ostrich egg, this Egyptian vulture demonstrates that the human species is not the only one to put rocks to work. A boulder warmed by the sun makes a heating pad for cold-blooded lizards. Birds don't have teeth to break up their food. They swallow their food whole, and it gets ground up further down the line by gizzard stones. As a digestive aid, parrots reach for chalky kaolin. We use kaolin in pottery, paper, and to give paint a matte finish. Long before humans knew the difference between matte and glossy, they were painting the walls of caves. Not only did rock provide the canvas, but also the paint. The first paints were made from clays and minerals such as chalk and hematite, which were crushed to a powder and mixed with animal fat. But what's the difference between a rock and a mineral? Minerals are pure, solid, and defined by a distinctive chemical formula. Rocks, like chocolate chip cookies, are combinations of many minerals. Unlike a cookie, minerals are constantly recycled. The rock cycle recombines them into 3 distinct rock types. When the minerals in magma cool and harden, they become igneous rock, from the Latin word for fire. Minerals from igneous rocks are transported by wind and water. This sediment is deposited, compacted, and cemented together in sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock bakes under more pressure and metamorphosis into metamorphic rock, which eventually turns back to magma. Limestone, a common sedimentary rock, can even contain shells embedded within it. Limestone caves are carved by water dissolving the calcite or lime out of the limestone. Dripping water redepositing the calcite and lime creates stalactites and stalagmites. Stalagmites grow up, stalactites grow down. When they meet, it's called an organ pipe. These limestone caves in Druland, Ireland were formed when the softer minerals were dissolved away, leaving a honeycomb of passages and underwater galleries to explore. Other members of the Sedimentary Rock Hall of Fame include the Travertine Terraces of Turkey, a natural wonder; the Pyramids of Egypt, monuments of limestone; and Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, another limestone splendor. By the advent of Judaism around 2000 BC and later Christianity, stones were not so much worshipped as revered. In the Temple of Jerusalem, within the Holy of Holies, under the altar of burnt offerings, is the rock which is believed to be the site of creation. The hole that this rock seals up supposedly drained off the waters of the first great flood. Metamorphic means change, which is exactly what happens when sedimentary shale, subjected to the pressure and heat of mountain building, is transformed into slate, a metamorphic rock. When rock is squeezed and folded like bread being kneaded, the minerals within the rock recrystallize. Schists are formed in the Earth's crust when the underground pressure cooker exceeds 500 degrees centigrade. Limestone, subjected to immense heat and pressure, turns into a rock batter and is baked into marble. Marble dominates the Metamorphic Rock Hall of Fame with some of the world's most impressive buildings. The Greek Parthenon, the Taj Mahal, constructed with a huge variety of marble. Famous marble statues are metamorphic and mesmerizing. Special mention goes to slate, which via the blackboard has held more knowledge than any other metamorphic rock. While slate might be considered the rock of knowledge, in Christendom, the rock of steadfast faith supports the city of God. St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican is believed to be built on the Apostle Peter's grave. His name comes from the Greek word Petros, meaning rock. Peter symbolizes the unshifting ground on which the church is built. Rocky shorelines provide seabirds with unshifting breeding grounds. Rockhopper penguins even use small stones to build their nests. The rock wallaby of Australia prefers life on the rocks. A chamois' rock climbing equipment consists of sharp hooves and steady nerves. A rock balanced on a sea otter's belly provides the perfect anvil for bashing open shellfish. For bears, rocky rivers supply food, while rock caves are a haven for hibernation. Igneous means born of fire. The most common igneous rock is granite. All granites are a combination of three minerals: quartz, feldspar, and mica. The Earth's rocky interior is predominantly igneous rock and made in two ways. Extrusive rocks, such as obsidian, form when lava pushed to the surface cools. Intrusive rocks solidify within the crust, and like Sugarloaf Mountain in Brazil, are exposed by erosion. The Igneous Rock Hall of Fame contains such famous and fireborne rocks as the Rosetta Stone, made of black basalt. Sri Lanka's 44-foot Buddha, sculpted from local granite. And the hard-headed presidents of Mount Rushmore, carved from the mountain's granite. Some rocks even come from outer space. As many as 19,000 meteorites, apple size or bigger, bombard the Earth each year. Canyon Diablo, Arizona, a meteorite weighing 15,000 tons pounded out a crater 3/4 of a mile wide. Not all meteorites have fallen from the sky. Some were carried home by astronauts. One meteorite is venerated throughout the Islamic world, the Black Stone in the Kaaba at Mecca. According to tradition, it was given to Adam when he was expelled from the Garden of Eden. Originally white, the stone has been supposedly blackened by the sins of the world. Between black and white lies the brilliant spectrum of gemstones. While gems come in a tremendous variety of size and shape, they have always symbolized clarity, purity, and perfection. It's believed jewelry was first worn by the living and the dead to prevent evil spirits from entering the body through the ears, mouth, or nose. Jewelry has been found in ceremonial tombs dating back 20,000 years. Gemstones, precious or semi-precious, always come from a single crystal. The word crystal is derived from the Greek word kyros, meaning icy cold. It was once believed that rock crystal was ice frozen so hard it would never melt. This belief was disproved in a simple experiment. In 1777, it was shown by Robert Boyle that rock crystal, or quartz, could not be ice because, whereas ice floats, quartz sinks. So what is a crystal? Just as minerals are the building blocks of rocks, crystals are the building blocks of minerals. All well-formed crystals have certain regular patterns. Parallel edges and parallel faces are their main characteristics. Crystals are all around us. A spoonful of sugar is a pile of sugar crystals supported by a mass of silver crystals. We tread on quartz crystals at the beach. We shake salt crystals on our food. Since the vast majority of crystals are microscopic, it's no wonder that the large, well-formed crystals are the ones that catch our eye and stir our imagination. Lapis, used in jewelry for over 6,000 years, was thought to be a bit of blue heaven which had fallen to earth. Turquoise was used as a horse amulet, a charm to protect the horse and rider. Jade and nephrite from China were believed to have life-giving powers. This nephrite and gold funeral suit was made to preserve the body of a Chinese princess. It was the Greeks and Romans who first began gazing into crystal balls and seeing visions in the curtain of mist. Rubies, once known as bloodstones, were worn by Roman gladiators to stop bleeding from wounds. Amethyst, a purple quartz, was considered a charm for remaining sober no matter how much wine was drunk. There may have been some truth to this. An amethyst goblet allowed servants to add water to their master's wine without being detected. In the 4th century, the church declared precious stones to be fetters of the soul. Those who wore them were excommunicated. Eventually, the church reversed its position. Indeed, amethyst became the traditional stone for bishops and cardinals' rings. When Lucifer was cast from heaven, the archangel Michael's flaming sword struck his crown and knocked an emerald into the abyss. As legend has it, this heavenly jewel was carved into the cup Christ drank from at the Last Supper. The Holy Grail. Some gems remained unlucky. When the Black Death ravaged Europe, Venetians noticed that opals became brilliant when a wearer caught the disease and dulled when they died. In fact, temperature change does alter the color of opals. The hardest rock of all is the diamond. The name may come from the Sanskrit word Dayu, a luminous deity. To bring out a gemstone's luster, beauty, and color, it is cut and polished by a jeweler. Diamonds weren't always a girl's best friend. In 1442, Agnes Sorel became the first commoner to break the French law stating that only royalty could wear diamonds. It helped that she was the king's mistress. Napoleon wore the Regent diamond on his sword, believing it would make him unconquerable. He must have gone to Waterloo with a rhinestone. The one mineral which has caused more grief than any other is the great corruptor, gold. The Egyptians were working with gold more than 5,000 years ago. Gold fever is as old as greed itself. From King Midas, whose touch turned everything to gold, to the Spanish conquistadors who looted Central and South America for its gold, to the California gold rush of 1849. The Golden Buddha of Bangkok weighs 5.5 tons, enough for 300,000 wedding rings. Gold symbolizes a bright future, never to be dimmed by time. Because it won't tarnish, gold has long been associated with eternal life. In Egypt, the honored dead were encased in gold caskets. Gold and diamonds embody the dual character of stone. Diamonds for its permanence, gold for its ever-changing nature. While precious stones adorn us, we have also built our world with the raw materials that nature provides. Rocks and minerals, even the most glamorous, are the workhorses of our daily lives. 80% of diamonds mined serve utilitarian needs. Oil drilling bits, quarrying tools, and the cutting edge of scalpels. Mercury, the liquid mineral, tells us the temperature. Aluminum holds our drinks. Graphite fills our pencils. Silicon is used in computer chips. Crystals keep our watches, TVs, and radios working. Silver makes our film. The beauty and power of stones has always been in the eye of the beholder. Artists sculpt with them. Hikers stack them on mountaintops for good luck. England's coronation chair sits atop the Scottish stone of Scone, symbolizing that whoever rules England rules Scotland too. For some, crystals can rule the mind and body with healing powers. In Japan, their earth god, Jizo, is also the guardian angel of children. Stones are placed on his statue to be used as stepping stones by the souls of children who have died and need help crossing the river between this world and the next. In crossing the river of time, rocks, minerals, and gems have been the stepping stones of human civilization. But only one stone transports us through time and space. It is the jeweled earth, the rock which gives us all the ride of our lives.
Eyewitness Museum. Created by combining traditional filmmaking techniques with state-of-the-art graphics. Stripping away the mysteries of nature and science to reveal the essence of each subject. Bringing the world into sharp focus. The making of Eyewitness. The distinct style of the Eyewitness books is the basis for each of the programs. Each half-hour episode is based on a book title. The Eyewitness book's visual style gives the program makers a starting point and a challenge. The challenge of transferring clarity and super-realism into moving images and sound. Now let's take a look behind the scenes at the making of Rock and Mineral. A massive eruption for the opening of Rock and Mineral produced one of the largest models in the series. It was very heavy, but it wasn't the rocks, they're plastic. We constructed a scaffolding to allow the set to be split apart into separate chunks, and then put the final touches to the elaborate rock face, cut out of a single styrofoam block. All that remains is to hide the cracks and blanket the entire surface with salt to create a flat field of Eyewitness white. To achieve slow motion, the high-speed camera is set for 250 frames per second, 10 times normal speed. Everything is prepared to the last detail. There can be no take two, not without adding a day to the schedule. The moment of truth. It'll look good for sure. A second video camera gives the crew instant feedback. Another rock wall had been cast by swabbing latex over a real stone surface. Back at the studio, the dull grey latex is transformed into a backdrop that would fool any caveman. The axe is a later addition, layered in and spun around by computer graphics. The campfire adds atmosphere. And for the fire-making sequence, the job of making sparks goes to the spark, the studio electrician. Even the skeleton needs preparation for his role. Old bones need a fresh coat of paint and some expert dressing to give them that lived-in Stone Age look. To achieve a smooth movement, the jib comes in handy. In this shot, the skeleton meets the episode's hero, Smashy the Boulder. How many actors can take this kind of treatment and keep smiling? This is not to say the making of Eyewitness always went as planned. It's often the simplest shots that cause the most headache. This one called for a bit of bedrock bowling. Looks easy. Let the graphics director do it.
Okay, let me have it.
No? Then let the film director take a turn.
Okay, running up and speed.
The graphics director takes another crack. Then the art director moves in for a close-up and scores.